we have Gabe Richmond and Josh Wolf, so please welcome them to the stage. All right, thank you. There you go.
All right.
Okay. Enjoy.
Hey, everybody. A little jealous we missed the selfie there, but maybe next time. I'm Josh. I am Senior Director of Solutions Consulting for the Partnerships team. Really excited to be here today. And I'm here with Gabe Richmond, who's the GM of Data at the Trade Desk. You want to give a little intro?
Yeah, really happy to be here. So Gabe Richmond, GM Data Partnerships at TTD. In my role, I get to help advertisers leverage their first-party data to drive better outcomes in their media spend and advertising on our platform. And just really excited to be here and talk about the collaboration with the Tealium team in this area.
Excellent. All right, so today we're going to talk about how you can improve your digital advertising and get more out of your budgets. I'm going to start off with sort of a little bit of history here. You probably heard the term CAPI thrown around a bunch earlier today. I'm going to start with a little bit of a story, right? It's near and dear to my heart. You can picture me in my early 20s, straight out of college with a degree in economics, thought I was going to work in finance, and then what happened? I stumbled into ad tech, right? I learned to code, I learned graphic design, I was working with some of the biggest advertisers in the world. It was really exciting, it was really fun. Definitely no finance for me ever again after that. One of the things that I would do is I would set up these ad campaigns for some of the biggest advertisers out there. Some of you work for the same businesses. And then I would have to call those businesses up and send them emails and say, I need you to take this code that sometimes I was coding by hand, call it a pixel, and you need to put it on your website to track things. And there was no tag management at the time. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work, right? Sometimes we would break the website, but when it worked, you really had a detailed view into exactly how your campaigns were performing, right? This was a long time ago, and now we've gotten to a point these days where it's not that easy, right? So we're losing visibility into our ad campaigns, and the Digital Advertiser's Playbook is a way to help you get more visibility into your campaigns and to get those campaigns to perform better. So two big changes that you're probably all aware of. If you're not, you have browsers that are blocking third-party cookies and browsers that are blocking link tracking. And that's one of the ways that it's really a lot harder to understand how campaigns are performing, right? You layer on top of that people using ad blockers or just sort of cranking up the security settings in the browsers. You layer on top of that global and regional privacy regulations, and that really just reduces the amount of data that publishers can get in order to make campaigns perform better and for advertisers to understand how those campaigns are performing. And we have a solution to help you overcome a lot of that, right? Conversion APIs, that's what CAPI stands for. They are going to allow advertisers to see significant improvements in their campaign performance, but it goes way beyond that, right? So if you haven't started using them yet, reach out. We can explain to you in more detail how they work and how they would work for you. But this is what we're covering today. So Tealium is in a unique position to support this. And what you see here is our product suite, where what you're supposed to do is you load this pixel. You know, that's that little piece of tracking code I was talking about before. And it will be able to track campaign performance in certain cases. But when it can't, that's when you can send that data by API, and that can supplement the campaign, and it can improve the trackability of those campaigns. And Tealium IQ, our tag management system, is ready to help you add, remove, and modify the pixel, and Event Stream is there to help you supplement that pixel tracking with the Conversion API. Then you can add in offline data, app data to track additional conversions. And then after that, you can layer on Audience Stream, our customer data platform, to further improve the performance of these campaigns by hyper-targeting, right? Turning on and turning off targeting for each person based on what their profile looks like. So there are stages that I see advertisers go through and grow and see improvements in their campaign performance at each of these stages, right? What does this mean beyond just tracking those missing conversions, it means that the advertisers can now build that first-party foundation. You can really understand your customers, where in the past you were relying a lot on third-party data. And then beyond that, this full view of the customer, the online events, the offline events, that's really a full customer journey, and it's really valuable. So once you have that foundation, it's going to allow you advanced analytics. It's going to allow you AI, of course, to build new segments and understand how to target these people better. So it goes way beyond just tracking these campaigns better. So first, it helps you mitigate the observable loss, right? That just means gain back what you lost before. Second, the publishers can then use that to model additional conversions. And then third, the publishers offer AI to supercharge these campaigns. So again, it goes beyond just mitigating the conversion loss. Now, what does that mean beyond advertising, right? You're able to not only improve campaign performance, but you're able to offer up this data to your in-house data science teams, valuable data that they might not have had access to previously, or perhaps that they are getting right now in a batch process. We're able to give that to them in real time. How do the advertisers sort of grow through this process? And we're calling this the digital advertiser's maturity evolution, right? You start small, and then you test, and you learn, and you grow, and you improve. So stage number one, we're calling preserve. And that's just where you add CAPI on top of the pixel. That's going to help you, again, regain some of those lost conversions that, you know, in my youth, we had full visibility into, and now we're definitely losing. The next stage we're calling expand, and that's where you can take the offline events and the app events. You can start to track those too. In many cases, these advertisers hadn't been tracking those at all previously. So these could be net new conversions to make your campaigns perform even better, to power those publishers to serve those ads more effectively. Or at the very least, maybe you were batch loading those in so we could get those conversions in faster, again, helping improve campaign performance. And then finally, optimize. This is where you can add in audience stream. And this is where we can really bring in that hyper-targeting, where you can turn on and turn off the targeting based on the characteristics of each individual person. You can share that event-level data and that person-level data with your AI teams in real time for better segmentation, better targeting, better product and content recommendations. And that's the closed loop, right? We provide the data, and then we get those insights back for activation. And then once you get to optimize, this also goes beyond advertising. This could be used to trigger and personalize at every customer touch point, both online and offline. So again, building this foundation is really going to help your ad performance, but it goes way beyond that. All right. I'm going to hand it over to Gabe for the Trade Desk's perspective on this. Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you. So the Trade Desk, we're thought of as the largest independent DSP, which stands for Demand Side Platform. What that means is we are a media buying platform for advertisers. But I also think that we are arguably the most advanced AI and audience-based media buying platform anywhere in the world. What that means is media performs better when it's running off of your data. If you're bringing audience data, your own first-party conversion data to our platform, and not just using the lowest hanging fruit, placing a pixel, but using the full breadth of sources available, your media is going to perform better. You're going to drive better outcomes. You're going to have a better advertising experience, or deliver a better advertising experience to your consumers, so on and so forth. And so, again, we're really excited about the collaboration with Tealium here. We're going to talk about how this kind of materializes and how our technologies and our platforms work together to bring this sort of story to life, and to bring step change in advertising performance when using all of this together. On the left-hand side, think about data collection, right? When you're bringing leveraging your first-party data in media campaigns, You should always place a pixel, right? And like, again, that's your lowest hanging fruit. But your pixel is going to collect cookie data unless you're also working with us on Unified ID 2.0 or UID 2. UID 2 is essentially a pseudonymous identifier for advertising. That's a representation of your consumers' email addresses or hashed email addresses, as well as mobile phone numbers. And so when you're beginning to collect, real-time event data using the Tealium platform, where there's, cookies present, we'll of course take those and use them. But when authentication occurs, when consumers are self-identifying and giving you their email addresses or your phone numbers, those should be coming over as a UID2. And if you aren't built to UID2 APIs directly yourselves, that functionality is natively available within the Tealium platform. And so your event data is going to come over into the CDP, where it gets resolved against customer profiles and organized, and rich segmentation is being built out there. And then Tealium also has a native integration to the trade desk, what we call our first party endpoint, where essentially your audience segments are being dropped off at your trade desk seat. And so your first party data can come to our platform where it can be used as essentially training data to fuel all of your campaign settings and optimizations, as segments to target against or to suppress, as conversions to measure or optimize against. All of the above, right? Fueling your omni-channel campaign activation in web, in app, digital out of home, of course, premium streaming television, and more recently, connected audio as well. And kind of flashing back to that slide of that maturity curve that Josh talked about a few minutes ago, I want to take this a step further and talk about this through the trade desk lens, based on the integrations that are available in partnership and collaboration with the Tealium platform. And so again, beginning with Preserve, right? Universal pixel, this is your lowest hanging fruit. We should always be pixeling the site and bringing that data over, connecting that to the Conversions API for real-time events, and leveraging UID2 for bringing a more durable identifier against your first-party data to resolve to profiles and to activate on our platform. And Expand, I love this one because we talk about Conversions APIs for the online, but you have to be thinking about the full breadth of conversion sources that you have available, because if you're not, you're really missing an important piece of the puzzle. We just heard a really great anecdote, one of our customers in the hospitality space who was bringing, they were doing many of the right things. They were using their, using the pixel to bring conversion data over, their web conversion data over. But what we found was, a lot of their sales were actually taking place over the phone because, yes, people still do pick up the phone to book hotel reservations, as well as in their app. And so by not having those sources plugged in, they were missing out on a ton of conversions and essentially undercounting performance, right? There was a perception that media wasn't performing nearly as well as it was. And so by being able to integrate those sources and bring a more holistic picture of customer activity and specifically conversion activity, they're able to create a much better understanding of how media is impacting sales and to be able to win more budget for programmatic because it's driving really incredible performance for them. And then in the optimized category, right, this is where things start to get really interesting. Dynamically adding and removing people from segments based on behavior and performance, using segments to fuel lookalike modeling for your customer acquisition campaigns. And then this is a real trade desk differentiator if you think about our positioning versus, say, the walled gardens. We want to give the log level exposure data back to you. We believe that your first party data is not just the obvious, your email list, your point of sale data, your CRM, so on and so forth, but also the actual media exposure and click data. We want to give that back to you. We don't force you to use that just within like a trade desk hosted clean room. We don't have that. We will bring it back to you and let you, bring it into your environment of choice so that you can run advanced analytics, link media exposure data against first party data sets like your CRM and point of sale, so that you can better understand performance, run more advanced analytics, attribute conversions and then have that kind of feedback to the beginning. And again, this is really core to the trade desk ethos, and many of our competitors, don't give that same level of access to data back, which we think is so important. But you can't think of these things as linear. Like developing a first-party data strategy to underpin your media strategy, it's a journey, and it's not a one-time thing. You have to think of it as this kind of, this closed loop, this virtuous cycle. If you are, again, doing this one time, I ran a test, I did a UID2 thing, I checked a box so I can, report that up to marketing leadership. That's not going to produce results, right? But if you, hear what I'm saying, if you lean into this message, if you resolve identity with UID2 and you append, build out rich segmentation and enrich it with third-party data, right? Activate that in your media campaigns. Use conversion data for measurement. Bring log-level data back for more advanced analytics, and repeat, right? Rinse and repeat. Every time you do that, every time one of those reports come back on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, your campaign can be better optimized, can become smarter, can perform better. But again, this is a journey, and I think many folks are kind of entering it at different points. So I'd say this is aspirational, right? This is where we want everybody to get to, but there's still wins to be had along the way. And so with that, I'm really excited to share a unbranded but true client case study of a customer that's leveraging Tealium to activate first-party data on the Trade Desk platform. And so this is a global apparel and footwear retailer with an incredible first-party data asset, right? They have invested heavily into their loyalty program. They also have other purchase activity that's identifiable, essentially happening in their mobile apps as well as on their websites. And so by being able to organize all of this data via the integrations that we've been talking about today, and bringing that over to TTD, they launched a variety of first-party audience tactics, right? They're targeting some of those groups directly. They are suppressing customers from acquisition campaigns. They're using very specific cuts of audiences to feed lookalikes to go find and acquire more customers that look like their top performing cohorts. And when I look at these sort of results, it's like incredible to see. The themes here that kind of stick out to me, I'd say one, efficiency, right? They're acquiring customers at much lower CPAs. Their CPMs and media spend are coming down a lot, right? Efficiency and performance. Campaigns are converting at a much higher clip, and they're showing a much higher return on ad spend than using legacy tactics and strategies fueled off of third-party data, right? For this apparel retailer, using their first-party data, their loyalty card data, their site and app data to fuel their campaign strategies created massive gains in performance compared to leveraging some third-party data providers, basketball shoe enthusiast segment, right? But as we kind of talked about this being a journey, right? This advertiser isn't doing all of the things, right? They aren't completing that full closed loop yet, and that's okay. Still going from legacy to leveraging first party, even in the way that they are, has created significant gains in performance, right? And so I think lesson learned here is you don't have to go from nothing to all in. You can kind of step into this and work your way into it. But as this is a journey and not an overnight phenomenon of, hey, now we're all in on first party data, just know that there are gains and wins to be had along the way, like our friends here.
Awesome.
Back to you.
Thank you. And yeah, absolutely, lots of room for improvement, even for advertisers who are doing some or all of this right now. One other thing that I had heard in our partnership with the Trade Desk is that we have the most integrations available, right? We have the client-side tags, we have the event-level APIs, we have the audience-level APIs, so we can really help you grow with your use of the Trade Desk through that whole maturity curve that we were looking at a minute ago. And again, gotta hit the AI bingo card, but right, it goes way beyond just tracking these conversions. because you have the offline conversions, you have the online conversions. That's the whole customer journey right there. It's really, really valuable for things beyond just your campaigns that you're running on the trade desk, right? Owning that first-party data is going to make your models more accurate. It's going to make these segments that you're able to build out more accurate. You're going to be able to predict who your best customers are, and you'll be able to share that back to Tealium so we can activate that through advertising, but through all other sorts of online and offline channels, right? So that's really the big picture, that you're building this foundation here for that purpose, and it's really important because you're spending a lot of money on advertising, but it can do so much more than that. So for those of you working on the media side, I'll ask you to reach out to your data science teams and reach out to your IT teams and let them know that they have access to this same set of data. And it probably shouldn't even cost them any more money, right? You want to get more value out of Tealium, you want to get more value out of what you're already paying for. Share this with them, and then not only will they be able to do a better job, but they'll be working with the same set of data. So when they're targeting the VIP customers through those other channels, you'll be targeting those same VIP customers through your ads on the trade desk. All right? And again, best of breed, independent solutions, great partnership. Wanted to thank you for coming today, Gabe. Thank everyone for their time here, and please reach out to us, reach out to your Tealium contact if you want to learn more about this. We're happy to have more conversations with you all, and please enjoy the rest of the time here at Digital Velocity. Thank you.